Hey, it's Christina. Welcome to video training series 3 on the Instagram anti-algorithm method, which is the ultimate framework to be seen, well, to go from nobody to somebody within your niche within 30 days without any awkward lip syncing reels or awkward sales pitches in the DMs. So the anti-algorithm method is kind of what it says on the tin. It's the things that you can do in your Instagram marketing which have very little to do with the algorithm, very little to do with, you know, using the right trending audio and posting something that's that might go viral. We're actually focusing on the things that are entirely within our control. Some of these things actually have nothing to do with social media, and they kind of do, but we'll get into that in this video. Yeah, if you're kind of feeling like you're missing a trick with social media at the moment, you could either just be starting out and you've got no audience whatsoever, you're a complete nobody in your niche, or you're running a fairly sustainable business at the moment, you've got sales coming in, but social media is not doing what you know it could be doing for you at the moment. And you know you're kind of missing a trick, but you're just not quite sure how to get to that level where you are seen as the go-to expert and an authority on social media. You're creating content that's attracting your dream clients, and you know, people are finding you through social media and you're generating leads that way. So stick around. In today's episode, training number 3, we're going to go into how to start building relationships and getting in front of other people's audiences that actually have nothing to do with social media. So, I've spoken about this concept in a few of my videos, so if you've watched those, then you might have already heard me talk about it. Today, we are going to talk about the concept of the Dream 100. Now let's talk for a little bit. I'll explain what the Dream 100 is in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about why you might not have started building relationships with key influential people who have big audiences, or audiences of people who are also your dream client. Let's talk about why you may not have done that yet. So you may well believe that you're too small to do that, right? You're like, oh, it's little old me, I've got like 10 followers. Why would I go and message, why would I go and grab the email address of someone who's got 10,000 followers on Instagram and, email them and say, and introduce myself and try and get in front of their audience, ask for a shout out or something. I'm gonna get rejected. Rejection is one of the most basic human fears, right? Like rejection. We don't want to be rejected. We hate being rejected. Back in the caveman times, being rejected meant we'd probably die. So we don't want to be rejected by people. So we're like, I'm a bit scared to go to people and ask. So the concept of the Dream 100 is where you make a list of 100 of the key most influential figures with the big audiences, big email lists, big social platform followings, and you reach out to them and you start building relationships. Now notice that that's what I've said, start building relationships. I haven't said ask for a promo, okay? So I've done a lot of in-person networking events. I used to be a corporate recruiter, and there was virtually no networking. I mean, obviously I used email and I cold called and I did a lot of networking that way, but 4 or 5 times a year there were these big networking events that I would go to. I'd set up our stand, and there'd be like a dinner and drinks the night before. Everyone would get really smashed and we'd just make, we'd make connections. And I got so much business that way. I built up so much trust that way. It was absolutely great. Obviously in the online space, if you're a coach or a course creator, an expert service provider in the online space, and you're doing like worldwide, and maybe you haven't been to any events or you haven't held any events, then obviously it's like, how do you, the concept, like when you're face-to-face at an in-person networking event, it's natural, like conversation comes naturally, right? You just start talking to people like, oh, hey, what's your name? Oh, great, nice to meet you, I'm Ellen. What do you do? Oh, that sounds really interesting. And then they might say, what do you do? You go, oh, well, actually I do this and this. Oh, great, yeah, so kind of similar, yeah, but you do something a little bit different. Or maybe if you do exactly the same thing, you can start talking about the thing that you do, and it's natural. It's not like, if you met someone at a networking event who told you that they did what you did, you wouldn't go, oh, we're competitors, bye, and walk away. You would just, it's like the human interaction is so natural, it's so nice, you want to be friendly to people. But then when you get online, you're kind of like, how do I start building building connections online starts with a cold email, starts with a reach out, and that's where most people go, oh, I'm not doing that because I might get rejected, I might get told to F off, I might get a reply that says, why are you emailing me, go away. But these are where the connections will start, because if they don't, they're never going to come to you, right? They're never going to come to you. You've got to go to them. You've got to make yourself known. And you don't have to slide in and say, hey, do something for me, because I'm great, even though I've got 10 followers. But you can say, hey, I've been a big fan for a while, love your stuff, I've just started out, appreciate you're really busy and I'm not expecting a reply or anything, but I just wanted to keep in touch. I loved the piece of content that you wrote about this. It actually inspired me to shoot my own video, write my own blog post. Here it is. If you've got the time, check it out. Let's keep in touch. From you. And it's like, you might not, obviously if somebody's got like 10 million followers or like 1 million followers, yeah, they're not going to come back to you, right? Do it anyway. I don't care. Do it anyway. Just throwing it out there. If I'm telling you to do stuff, I'm doing it, okay? So do it anyway. And if you do the same thing with people who have maybe double your following, so if you have 250 followers and you reach out to someone who has 500 followers and you start building a relationship with them, they probably will get back to you. And as long as you're not doing it for the sake of it, the person who you reach out to with those 500 followers, double your following, needs to be someone who you know is influential, someone who you know that their 500 followers are full of your dream audience, they're smashing it, they're selling, people resonate with them. It's like if someone's got 500 fake followers or like 10,000 fake followers, do your due diligence. Make sure that you're not constantly pitching to someone who's got 10,000 fake followers, because you're never going to get any value from them. So do your due diligence, check out their audience, even if it's a smaller number. If that smaller number in their audience is every single one of them your dream client and who would love to buy from you, would love what you have, then bingo, they're a great person to get to know. And make it known that you're not just doing it for your own gain. Of course, if you send one email and you say, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you interviewed me on your podcast, or we did a collaboration together because I'd really like to get in front of your audience, no way. It's like, that's so self-serving. Like, what do? It's gotta be natural. Natural is not fast, okay? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, okay? So slowly and smoothly and nicely just smooth those relationships, a little ego stroke, just like a no pressure, like, I'm not bothered, but like, let's be friends, yeah. And then slowly, over time, you'll start chatting a bit more and getting a bit more to know each other. And then, boom, one day, it might just come so naturally that it might be like, hey, let's do a little collab together. Why don't we do a podcast together? Yeah, totally, I'm cool. Maybe they might even come to you and say, hey, really like your stuff, actually. Like, I've just launched a podcast now. We've got, 20% of my following on Instagram are now listening to my podcast. Like, I need some guests. Do you want to be on it? And you're like, hell freaking yeah, I do. And that comes from the relationship that you built in the beginning. It's not just like, oh, these people aren't going to find you. You have to find them. Okay? So, recap. Maybe you're not doing that in the moment because you think it's spammy and sleazy and self-serving. I promise you, it's just because the way that you're thinking of doing it is spammy and sleazy and self-serving. If you do it in a natural networking way like you would in real life, I promise you, what happens then is you are actively seeking out opportunities by way of building great connections. Be friendly to people. Yes, nobody needs a new friend in this industry. They don't. Nobody needs a new friend. So don't think that just being a friendly person is going to get you far. It will help you, but nobody wants a new friend. So, be thinking about what value you can give. Maybe you produce a little bit of content that you think they might like. You're not asking them to share it. You're just saying, I think you might like this. What do you think of it? it gets their eyeballs on your content, and if it really impresses them, if they're like, wow, that's actually really good, she knows what she's talking about, she's got her head screwed on, she looks like she's got a great offer, she looks like she's a real expert at this, and then it's like, yeah, like then they'll be like, oh, I'd like to know her too, I'd like to have a connection with her. And then maybe one day when you get big as well, you can return the favour and be like, hey, let's do a collaboration, I'll shout you out to my audience, you shout me out to yours, Collab Central. That's how these big network of marketers on the online space today, they all know each other. Can't you see that? Don't you notice that whenever like one of these big marketers has a new launch or a product, you suddenly see them on everyone else's podcast. You see them on everyone else's, they're doing joint promotions on Instagram, or maybe you're on one of their email lists and you get an email saying, hey, my friend, this guy has got this new program, check it out. And you're like, what, they know each other? Yeah, it's not by chance. They've all networked together, and then they all beef each other's paychecks up because they all promote each other's offers to their own lists and their own followers. Boom. I'll see you in the next episode where we talk about... where are we? Help! Oh God. I'm not sure. Okay, in the next episode, we're going to talk about posting on social media. So we've cut this episode, we went off social media, now we're back on social media, we're back on Instagram, and we're going to talk about content, and we're going to specifically talk about consistency, how to be consistent, why you're not consistent at the moment, how to be more consistent, and why consistency isn't just a kind of buzzword, it is kind of the real deal. And I've had this problem myself with not being consistent, and it's just completely ruined growth for me. So we're going to talk about that in the next episode. So I'll see you in the next one.